Good afternoon. I'm here to talk to you today about the first of many new programs that I'll be rolling out on the 100 days leading up to the election. While the bulk of my domestic programs will fall into the greater fair and square deal, this is a special and integral set of programs. Historically, the first 100 days of a president's term is where the pace and tone is set for all 4 years. I intend to set a brisk and aggressive, demanding pace. I'm calling this 10 actions in 100 days. While I know there are many factors at play, I'm also convinced that a properly motivated Congress can accomplish nearly anything. By assuring cabinet-level nominations are beyond reproach, we can assure that the confirmation process doesn't take away from the other important work that needs to be done. Coming off the New Year's recess, freshly reelected, Congress should have all the energy they need to discuss, debate, and pass an aggressive slate of legislation. So I'm here to outline the first of those 10 actions in 100 days. I'm proposing the HEROES Act, otherwise known as the Helping Earners Reach Objective Equal Status Act. We have spent the years since 9/11 hailing our first responders and our troops as heroes, as we rightly should. As Colonel Jessup rightly identified, we live in a world that has walls, and those walls have to be guarded by men with guns. Our troops leave their homes and their families and travel around the world to continue to be those guards. Each day, we rise and we sleep under the blanket of freedom that they provide. Closer to home, our first responders have the fortitude to run towards the danger while we run away from it. They too put their lives on the line each day to serve the communities where they live, right here at home. But what we've learned in the last few months is that heroes who leave their homes and endanger their health and their very lives aren't limited to first responders and our troops. When states around the nation began implementing quarantines and stay-at-home orders, we redefined the term essential worker. What may have once been relegated only to those first responders now included the likes of line cooks, wait staffs, retail workers, and thousands of other American workers. Called upon now in the very hour of our need, they did not hesitate. They did not waver. They left their homes and their families behind, and they came out and served. Those who we interact with on a daily basis, but who we forget as soon as they're out of our eye line. They kept this country going in the hour of its most dire need. And many of them, if not most of them, did so at the federally mandated $7.25 per hour minimum wage. That's the same wage that I made at my last hourly position before I went to law school. It's a wage that has less buying power today than it did in 1970. In fact, it's a wage that has never had less buying power than it does today. Moreover, most of these employees went out into a pandemic which was exacerbated by a lack of healthcare access and inept leadership. And they did that without the safety net that most of us who stayed safely in our homes have: health insurance. You see, many of these Americans, they work for companies that game the system. When the federal government or the states expand healthcare benefit coverage, they always find a way around it. In fact, when the Obama administration mandated that all full-time employees must be offered benefits. These companies reclassified the bulk of their workforce as part-time. Then they cut their hours, but forced them to work right up into the limit to where they might receive benefits. Helping earners reach objectively equal status. In the first part, we will raise the federal minimum wage by July of 2021 to be on par with the buying power of minimum wage in 1970. Then, the minimum wage will be tied to the Consumer Price Index, and it will be adjusted quarterly. As a side note, as part of the analysis and reform portion of my platform, I will be pressing Congress to analyze the required wage to afford basic necessities in every market in this country, and then adjusting the minimum wage to assure that every American who is employed can afford those basic necessities. It is time that we stop thinking of this as a minimum wage and instead start thinking of it as the minimum living wage. We need to make that a reality. The other half of the HEROES Act will involve increasing, or in this case decreasing, the qualifications for benefits. We will federally mandate that in the absence of a single-payer healthcare option, any employee who works over 20 hours per week in a given month must be given access to their employer benefit program. They must be given an equal tier to the other employees in that company. Moreover, for any company with greater than 100 employees and who have a wage gap larger than 150% between the lowest earners and the highest earners, the lowest 20% of earners at that company must be given a subsidy to help offset the cost of those benefits and make them affordable. We will create that subsidy through a combination of federal dollars, state dollars, and an employer contribution. There is no way we can ever thank these workers for getting us through the most trying time in most of our lifetimes. But with the HEROES Act, we can start giving them the respect and appreciation that they deserve. Respect and appreciation for everyone will be a hallmark of my administration, and it will be a bulwark of the 100 Days program. And I am looking forward to discussing more about how we're going to make that a reality for the new American millennium. Thank you all.